Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, there are moments in life when everything you planned seems to slip through your fingers. The job didn't work out, the opportunity closed, the relationship fell apart. The health report came back troubling, and suddenly you find yourself in a place you never expected to be. You call it setback, but heaven calls it strategy, because what you thought was a step back was actually God pulling you into position. Like an archer pulls back the bow, not to wound but to launch the arrow farther than it has ever gone before. Your setback is not punishment, it is preparation. Some of your greatest growth happens when your comfort is shattered. It is in the valley where your faith finds its voice. It is in pressure where purpose is birthed. It is in darkness where vision becomes clearer. You are not being buried, you are being planted, and anything planted goes through a season where it is unseen, uncelebrated, and forgotten by others. But that season is necessary because roots grow in the dark. You may not see movement yet, but something is happening beneath the surface. God is strengthening your foundation for the weight of the blessing that's coming. Delay is not denial. Closed doors are protection. Unanswered prayers are redirection. Sometimes God blocks what you want to make room for what you need. You thought you lost, but you're being positioned. You thought you were forgotten, but you are being prepared. You thought it was over, but this is just the chapter before victory. Hear me if your life feels shaken. It means God is shifting you into place. Every champion has a breaking point, but that break is where the victory begins. Your tears are watering the ground of your next season. Your pain is producing strength you didn't know you needed. What was meant to stop you is going to launch you. This setback is not your end, it is the setup for your breakthrough. Don't run from the valley. Don't despise the process. Don't curse what God is using to strengthen you. Stand still, lift your head. Trust that the one who began this work will finish it. You are on the edge of something greater. The door is about to open. The burden is about to break. The promise is about to manifest. So hold on, because breakthrough is on its way. Amen. Your setback is not a dead end. It's divine redirection. So often, when life doesn't go according to the map we drew, we assume the journey has come to a disappointing stop. We mourn the closed door, we panic at the detour, and we doubt our own worth because the outcome doesn't match our expectation. But what if the very thing that feels like loss is an instruction, an intentional movement of your life into better alignment? You see, destiny is not always revealed on smooth roads. Sometimes it is carved through unexpected turns. The setback you're experiencing may not be a sign that you are off course. Rather, it may be the very evidence that God's hand is upon you. There are times when He interrupts our plans not to punish us, but to protect us. He shifts circumstances, He removes people. He blocks opportunities not because He is withholding blessing, but because He is guiding us to a greater place. We think we know what's best, but our perspective is limited. We only see the current chapter. God sees the entire story. He sees the outcome, the impact, the future you cannot comprehend yet. And when the path you chose begins to crumble beneath you, it doesn't mean you've failed. It means your Creator is redirecting you to a higher path. Sometimes divine redirection feels like disappointment. We cry over what fell apart, not realizing that what we lost was too small for what's coming. We cling to what was familiar, unaware that it would limit what we are meant to become, the relationship that walked away, Maybe it couldn't carry the weight of who you're growing into, the job you didn't get. Maybe it would have kept you from discovering talents buried inside you. The door that closed, maybe it was leading you somewhere that would drain your purpose. You may not understand it right now, but trust that every detour is bringing you closer to the assignment planted within you. You are not wandering, you are being escorted. When an archer pulls the bowstring back, it looks like the arrow is moving in the wrong direction. It's going backward, away from the target. But that backward pull is necessary for the arrow to soar. The tension, the pressure, the pull, that is what gives it power. In the same way, your setback may feel like regression, but it is actually preparing you for greater momentum. There are lessons that can only be learned in the wilderness, strength that can only be found in struggle, wisdom that only comes through wrestling with uncertainty. Before David became king, he learned how to fight lions and bears in the fields. Before Joseph sat on the throne of Egypt, he wore chains in a prison. Before Moses led a nation, he spent years in the desert. Every champion is shaped in obscurity. Your setback is not the story ending. It's the scene before the breakthrough. It's a pivot, a repositioning, a recalibration of your steps. What feels like delay is actually divine timing at work. You are being aligned with purpose, developed in maturity, and strengthened in faith. This is not a season to panic. It is a season to trust. When you cannot trace God's hand, trust his heart. He is too wise to make a mistake and too loving to abandon you. He will not let a setback destroy you. He will use it to redirect you. What you lost was not meant to anchor you. What slipped through your hands was never built for the future he is constructing. What you think is the end is merely the turning point. The setback is just God guiding you to where you truly belong. Trust the redirection, because it is leading you to break through. The valley is where God shapes your victory. It's easy to celebrate the mountaintop, the moments when everything seems to flow in your favor, when doors open easily and life feels light. But seasons of elevation are not where strength is built. They are where strength is revealed. Real growth happens down in the valley where shadows fall, where silence lingers, where the heart wrestles with questions and faith is tested in the absence of clarity. In the valley you come face with who you truly are, not the version of you decorated by success and applause, but the version that stands stripped of comfort and convenience. This is where God molds your character not through gentle breezes, but through winds that shake the core of your soul. The valley is a classroom. No crowds, no spotlight, no applause, just you, your struggle, and the God who refuses to leave your side. It's in that quiet space that he teaches you to hear his voice without the noise of distraction. When everything you relied on falls apart, suddenly you learn who your source truly is. You realize strength is not found in the absence of struggle, but in the presence of the one who walks with you through it. When David wrote, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death," he didn't say if he said even though, meaning the valley is not optional, it is necessary. Nobody becomes a giant, lair without training. Nobody stands before Goliath without first learning intimacy with God in solitude. The valley is preparation. It sharpens your instincts, deepens your faith, and solidifies your endurance. The valley strips away illusions. It removes the false identities we cling to: titles, achievements, relationships, routines, and exposes what is real. Suddenly, you learn that victory doesn't rest on your resume, your connections, or your abilities. It's in God's hands. Your part is obedience, His part is outcome. The valley teaches patience. Breakthrough is rarely instant. Seeds take time to grow. Roots take time to deepen. Sometimes God slows you down not to punish you, but to prepare you. He allows you to walk through low places, so you'll learn to lean on Him, and not on your own understanding. The delay is not wasted, it is forming something strong inside you, and let's be honest, some of the most powerful revelation is born in pain. When everything is going well, you might not pray as deeply, reflect as honestly, or seek as earnestly. But when the nights stretch long and answers feel far away, something shifts. You cry differently, you think differently, you believe differently, and in the stillness, God whispers truths that become the foundation of your purpose. The valley humbles you, not to defeat you, but to prepare you for elevation. Pride cannot thrive there. In the low place, you learn compassion, empathy, and gratitude. You learn how to encourage others who are hurting because you know what that pain feels like. God doesn't just shape your future in the valley. He shapes your heart. Victories born in comfort crumble easily. Victories built in the valley stand firm. Because once you've walked through darkness and survived, once you've felt the weight of silence and kept walking, once you've been knocked down and still found the strength to rise, nothing and no one can steal that testimony. So don't despise the valley. It is not a punishment. It is not abandonment. It is where God trains champions. One day you will stand on the mountain again, and when you do, you will know that every tear, every struggle, every unseen night of prayer was not wasted. The valley carved resilience into your spirit. It gave you vision. It made you ready. The valley is not where you fall. It's where you are formed. And everything formed in the valley will carry you to victory. Delay is not denial. God is preparing the platform. We often assume that if something has not happened yet, it will never happen. Our hearts grow tired, our faith wavers, and our minds begin to negotiate with discouragement. But we must understand, a slow answer is not a closed answer. Sometimes heaven is simply arranging things in the background, preparing the right people, the right timing, and the right environment so that when the blessing arrives, it not only appears, it endures. Every promise has a process. The waiting season is not wasted. It is where God aligns your character with your calling. He does not simply hand out blessings. He cultivates you so you can handle them. A blessing given too soon can easily become a burden. You might desire the stage, but God knows that without preparation, the very place you dream of standing could crush you. Consider the seed. Before a seed becomes a tree, there is a season where it is buried in darkness. You don't see growth. You don't see change, but deep beneath the soil, roots are forming, roots strong enough to sustain the future tree. If you dug up that seed too early, you would destroy it. It needs time underground to become what it's destined to be. In the same way, your hidden season is not God ignoring you, it's God building you. Delay develops discipline. While you wait, God is training your hands, shaping your vision, and strengthening your endurance. He is refining your desires, stripping away what doesn't belong, and anchoring your identity in Him rather than in outcomes. When you finally receive what you've been praying for, you'll be mature enough to steward it, not sabotage it. Sometimes the delay is protection. The opportunity you thought was perfect may have held hidden traps. The person you wanted to walk with may not have been equipped to honor your destiny. The place you thought would elevate you could have destroyed your confidence. God closes doors we would have walked through blindly because he sees dangers we cannot. What feels like rejection from earth might be protection from heaven. But while God prepares the platform, he also prepares you. There are skills you haven't learned yet, rooms you're not ready to enter, and wisdom you've not yet received. So he places you in seasons that sharpen you. Painful places, stretching places, uncomfortable places, because growth never occurs in ease. Every delay is shaping you to become the version of yourself who can carry the calling you've been given. And yes, waiting can hurt. It can feel like everyone else is moving forward while you remain still. You may watch others walk into blessings you prayed for first. You might wonder why God allowed others to flourish while you remain unseen. But remember, God is not comparing you to anyone else. Your timeline is tailor-made for your destiny. He is not late, he is exact. When the fullness of time comes, it will not be a struggle, nor will you have to force the door open. What is yours will flow. It will align with peace. Opportunities will find you. People will recognize you without your self-promotion. The ground will already be prepared for your feet. Your name will be spoken in rooms you've never entered. Favor will precede you because God has already gone before you. And when that breakthrough arrives, you'll realize that every moment of waiting, every tear shed, every disappointment survived was not in vain. The delay was not punishment, it was positioning. It was God saying, not yet, because I'm building something better. Delay is not God saying no. Delay is God saying, I'm not finished preparing everything yet. Trust me. Hold your peace. Hold your faith. The moment you've been praying for is on its way. You are not behind schedule. God is preparing the platform for your breakthrough. Growth happens when comfort breaks. We all love the feeling of safety, the predictable rhythm of routines, familiar surroundings, and situations we can control. Comfort feels warm, gentle, and soothing. It's a place where nothing challenges us, nothing stretches us, and nothing demands more from our spirit. But comfort is also where potential falls asleep. Nothing great is born in ease. Every meaningful transformation begins at the edge of discomfort. Think of a seed again. As long as it remains untouched, it looks safe. But the moment it begins to grow, the shell breaks. What once protected it is now too small to contain what it is becoming. The breaking is uncomfortable but necessary. Without that rupture, the seed would never become a plant. It would never touch the sunlight. It would never fulfill what it was created to be. In the same way, your growth demands a breaking of the shell you've outgrown. We pray for growth, but we resist the process. We ask for strength, but avoid resistance. We want wisdom, but run from experiences that teach it. We seek elevation, but hesitate to leave the ground beneath our feet. You cannot walk into a new season while clinging to the old one. Growth is costly. It requires sacrifice, vulnerability, and the courage to face the unknown. Life will often disrupt your comfort to reveal what's inside you. There comes a moment when the familiar no longer fits the expansion happening in your spirit. You feel restless, uncomfortable, unsettled, not because something is wrong, but because something is awakening. That discomfort is a sign that you are shifting, evolving, becoming. Even a butterfly cannot remain a caterpillar forever. The cocoon becomes tight, confining, almost suffocating. It is in that cramped space where the caterpillar dissolves into something new that transformation takes place. The struggle to break out of the cocoon builds the butterfly's strength to fly. If someone were to tear the cocoon open prematurely, the butterfly would never develop the wings needed to soar. The struggle is the preparation, so when life begins to stretch you, when plans change, when opportunities disappear, when people walk away, it is not always a sign of loss. Sometimes it is God making room for growth. He breaks what you have been holding on to because it cannot carry what you are becoming. He loosens your grip on comfort so you can learn strength, resilience, and dependence on Him. Pressure produces progress. The olive must be pressed to release oil. The grape must be crushed to make wine. Gold must be refined by fire to shine. None of these processes are gentle, but all produce something greater than what existed before. If the olive avoided pressure, if the grape resisted crushing, if the gold escaped fire, they would remain ordinary. It is the breaking that brings value. You are no different. There is greatness inside you, but it cannot emerge while you remain comfortable. Growth demands movement even when movement feels painful. It requires letting go of what once served you, stepping into unfamiliar territory, and trusting that pain is not punishment, but preparation. When God disrupts your comfort, it's not to destroy you. It's to develop you. He is enlarging your capacity, expanding your vision, strengthening your faith. He is preparing you for assignments that require more than who you used to be. You cannot carry a new calling with an old mindset. You cannot walk into increase while thinking small. You cannot step into destiny while hiding behind fear. The breaking forces you to confront yourself, your doubts, insecurities, and limitations. But in facing them, you discover that you are stronger than you realized. You learn that you can endure, you can adapt, you can rise. You realize that relying on God is not weakness. It is the source of your power. So when comfort breaks, don't panic. Don't retreat. Lean into the unfamiliar. Embrace the season of stretching. Because every time something breaks, something better begins. You are being prepared for greater purpose, greater strength, greater faith. Growth is uncomfortable, but it is necessary. It is the price for becoming who you are meant to be. Pain births purpose. No one ever asks for pain. We pray for peace, joy, stability, and elevation. But pain is often the unseen passageway to our greatest calling. Pain is a strange teacher. It arrives uninvited, disrupts everything familiar, and yet leaves us wiser, stronger, and more aligned with who we were created to be. Some of the deepest wells of purpose are dug in the soil of suffering. Pain has a way of reaching places that comfort will never touch. It exposes what is hidden beneath the surface, fear, pride, insecurity, and forces us to confront the parts of ourselves we would rather ignore. In the depth of that discomfort, God begins to mold us. He presses, stretches, reshapes, and refines us until what emerges is not a weaker vessel, but a vessel strengthened for impact. You can learn knowledge in books, but purpose is often learned in brokenness. When you walk through trials that shake your confidence, when relationships fracture, when dreams collapse, when grief becomes familiar, those moments are not random. They are sacred spaces where God reveals who you truly are, and more importantly, who He is. Pain draws you closer to the Creator, because when every other support falls away, His presence becomes undeniable. Purpose is rarely born on the mountaintop. It often enters in the valley, wrapped in tears and confusion. The people who change the world are not those who never faced hardship, but those who refuse to let hardship have the final word. Pain teaches compassion. It teaches empathy. It teaches you to care for others because you know what suffering feels like. Your wounds become the doorway through which others find healing. Every story of greatness carries a chapter of pain. Think of the individuals throughout history who made an impact. Their struggles shaped their assignment. Those who comfort the grieving have known grief. Those who help the broken have been broken. Those who fight for justice have tasted injustice. Your pain is not meant to crush you. It is meant to qualify you. It gives you a language that only experience can teach. Even nature echoes this truth. The most beautiful pearls are formed because of irritation inside an oyster. It is the friction, the intrusion, the discomfort that produces something precious. Without that irritation, no pearl would exist. In the same way, the agitation in your soul, the experiences that wounded you, are producing something valuable within you. There is purpose in your tears. Every sleepless night, every anxious thought, every private battle that nobody knows about is shaping your character. It is giving you depth. People with great purpose are not shallow. They are deep because they have journeyed through waters that forced them to learn trust. Pain teaches reliance on God, not on your own strength. It invites you to surrender the illusion of control and lean on the one who holds your destiny. Pain also clarifies your priorities. What once seemed important loses its grip when you've walked through suffering. You begin to understand what truly matters. You learn to love deeper, forgive quicker, and live more intentionally. You stop wasting time on what drains you and make room for what grows you. Some of the greatest breakthroughs come right after the greatest pain. The darkest night often precedes the sunrise. When your soul feels crushed, don't assume God has abandoned you. He is closer than ever. He is midwife to your purpose, guiding you through the labor of transformation. And yes, labor hurts, but that pain is a sign of life being born. When purpose is birthed through pain, you emerge different. You no longer fear challenges because you've survived enough to know you can. You carry a quiet strength, a deeper faith, a resilience no one can take away. And with every scar, you carry a testimony evidence that pain tried to break you, but purpose brought you through. So don't despise your suffering. Don't curse the season of hardship. What you are feeling is not the end. It is the beginning of purpose coming alive. Pain is not your enemy. It is the catalyst pushing you into destiny. One day, you will look back and realize that your greatest ministry, your most powerful impact, your deepest calling came not from what made you comfortable, but from what made you cry. Pain births purpose, and your purpose is on the way. Breakthrough requires trust beyond understanding. Faith is not truly faith until it leads you somewhere your logic cannot follow. It is easy to believe when everything makes sense, when doors open easily, when prayers are answered quickly, when the path ahead is laid out neatly. But real faith is forged when you look at circumstances that seem impossible, yet still whisper, "I trust you." It is in that tension between what you see and what you believe, where breakthrough is born. There will come seasons when life refuses to add up. You will ask questions and receive silence. You will pray and still feel pressure. You will seek clarity and find only shadows. That is where trust begins. Trust does not demand understanding. Trust surrenders understanding. It releases the need for explanations and holds fast to the one who holds the future. When you walk with God, you don't need to know every step. You just need to know who steps with you. Breakthrough often begins right where certainty ends. If everything made sense, you would rely on your own strength. If every detail was predictable, you wouldn't need God at all. Sometimes God allows confusion not to frustrate you, but to free you from dependence on sight, on people, on systems, on your own abilities. He teaches you to lean on Him alone. When the ground shifts beneath you and familiar structures collapse, that is when faith gets real. It is then you discover that He is the only foundation that cannot be shaken. Trust requires surrender. It means releasing the timeline you crafted, the expectations you carried, the picture you painted. Many breakthroughs are delayed not because they are denied, but because we hold too tightly to our own plan. God cannot fill hands that refuse to let go. Sometimes the greatest act of faith is simply to stop striving and rest. Breakthrough isn't earned by anxiety, it's received through surrender. Trust isn't passive, it's persistent. It shows up every day, even when nothing appears to be changing. It keeps praying, keeps believing, keeps walking. It holds onto promise even when feelings fade. Trust is not the absence of doubt. It is the refusal to bow to doubt. You may tremble, you may fear, you may question, but trust keeps you moving forward. It declares, even if I don't see it yet, I know God is working. Often, the path to breakthrough looks like breakdown. Just before the blessing comes, life tends to get messier. The enemy fights hardest when you are closest to the promise. Distractions increase, pressure intensifies, and everything in you wants to quit. But that chaos is not a sign that God has abandoned you. It is a sign that you are close. Many give up right at the edge of breakthrough because they expect the journey to be convenient. But breakthrough requires endurance, faith that keeps going when understanding runs out. Trust looks foolish to those who do not believe. Noah built an ark before rain existed. Abraham left his homeland without knowing the destination. Moses walked into the Red Sea before it parted. Breakthrough was waiting on the other side of obedience. In each story, the miracle did not arrive until trust stepped first. God honors courageous faith that moves before it sees. When you trust beyond understanding, you make room for the supernatural. You allow God to work in ways that exceed your imagination. He is not limited by human logic, timing, or method. He is able to open doors no man can shut, bring healing doctors can't explain, restore relationships others called hopeless, and elevate you beyond qualifications. But faith is the key that unlocks those doors. Breakthrough is not who you become after the victory. It's who you become on the way. Trust transforms you. It strips away fear and replaces it with confidence. It dissolves anxiety and cultivates peace. It shifts your vision from the seen to the unseen. When you trust God deeply, you move differently. You speak differently. You expect differently. You stop reacting to problems and start responding to purpose. In the end, breakthrough is not just about what you receive. It's about how your faith matures. When the miracle arrives, you will realize it wasn't just the outcome that mattered. It was the intimacy built with God in the waiting. You will carry a testimony that no one can steal, that when nothing made sense, you trusted, and God came through. Breakthrough requires trust beyond understanding. Trust with your questions. Trust in your confusion. Trust when it hurts. Trust when you feel unqualified, overlooked, or forgotten. For those who dare to trust, even without understanding, break through is not a possibility, it is a promise.